I don't have time for this bullshit.
Ha! Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. All this guy ever does is BS. Anyway, it's time for another edition of BSN with Big Nate.
to the man with the dotted line. And at the end of our days, my soul's no longer one. I'm trading all for gold. My heart is feeling cold. It's the end of our days and it's way too late. You can't break free.
Welcome into another edition of BS with Big Nate. That was Dying Oath. This is Dying Oath. Well, a portion. I'm joined by Mindy and Josh. Guys, thank you for joining me. I know you guys have had a busy schedule the past few weeks. And keeping the metal alive.
We're trying, man.
We're
doing our best.
That's right.
So, I mean, you guys are coming off, of course, we're going to go ahead. Anytime I talk to Mindy, just assume it's pre-recorded because they are busy pretty much every weekend. When this airs, you will have had a show last night. And again, we're going to go ahead and assume it was great because it always is with Dying Oath. But I want to talk about the two festivals you guys just played, Metal in the Mountains and Blue Ridge Rock Fest in Danville. And your experiences and crowd reaction, because you guys made a lot of noise. Social media. Everything kept coming out because, of course, I follow all of that. Every time I'd always see Dying Oath, Dying Oath, Dying Oath, Dying Oath, and all the comments. And I know we've of course got that Facebook group, the Dying Oath family.
Yeah.
But this is going much farther than that.
Yeah.
It is, dude. And trust me, my mind's just blown just as much as yours, dude. It flipped me out, the crowd reaction that we've gotten from it. Like it's humbling. You know, you go into like the Blue Ridge Rock Fest, what is it, the fan group?
Zone.
Yeah. And people put up posts, who are your favorites, and we'll see ourselves in a list with all these huge bands that we're crazy about, and we couldn't believe we even had a chance to play with in the first place. So just it's unreal, man. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm stumbling here.
So I do want to start with Metal in the Mountains because that was one I had circled on my calendar and things came up. I wasn't able to go. Pipe stem, I mean, they've been doing it for a few years now, and it always seems like it gets bigger and bigger, but it's progressive, and it seems like they handle it in a good way. How did that stick out in your guys' eyes?
For me, it was absolutely incredible. It was the first big stage like that we had stepped on. Like we were all nervous starting out, man. We were super nervous. We got to look at the stage. We got to look at the crowd. There was a crowd already building at the gate. 20 minutes before we played, and then they started chanting our name, and we lost it. It was just like, holy crap! This is really happening. So we got up there and we just, I don't know, muscle memory and training and years of practice took over, and we did what we did best, man. But that was an incredible experience, man. Anthony, kudos to you for putting that together, man. It was well run, incredible bands.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Well, for me, I got to play the first Metal in the Mountains with one of my old bands, and I got to play the main stage, which this year is now the small stage. So to go from the big stage to the bigger stage was really awesome. And then the year that I played, it was all just local bands. So to go from that to now to be able to open for bands like the Butcher Babies, which is one of my favorite bands, which, is incredible in itself. But like he said, when we first went to go behind the stage, it was like, 10 or 12 people. And we're like, I mean, I'm cool with that. It's fine, And then we hear them chanting our name from the stage, and we're looking over and they're just doubling and doubling and doubling in size. And we're like, oh my goodness. And I'm always the last one to walk out on the stage. So when I walk out and I see all these people, I literally turned to Ryan. I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy, and then we go from that to Blue Ridge, and we'll get to that in a minute, but it was definitely an incredible experience, especially for, some of the boys in the band who haven't played hardly any stages. So to go from that to a huge stage. We actually played at a bigger stage at Metal in the Mountains than we did at Blue Ridge. So it was mind blowing. It was incredible.
They had
So, I mean, I got to ask, of course, comparing the two lineups, Blue Ridge Rock Festival had, I mean, it was 4 days and in a massive lineup with some big names. Metal in the Mountains had some, I mean, like I said, it was one of those ones that was circled on my calendar because it's like, bam, that's one of my underground favorites. They're playing right there in Pipe Stem. And so I've got to ask, at Metal in the Mountains, who were you most excited to be performing alongside of?
For me, definitely Butcher Babies. Like, my main thing was to tell Heidi thank you for putting us on her playlist. If you guys haven't checked that out, please do. It's all female fronted. She's really trying to get all the female acts out there because, as you know, it's still a little bit harder for us. But I think her and, Stitched Up Heart were two for me. Tilla was amazing, but those two were the big ones for me.
John 5, bro.
So, and that's a little connection there between Metal in the Mountains and Blue Ridge Rock Fest. Is John 5 happened to be at both.
So did Stitched Up Heart.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. I mean, it's just, to me, that would be overwhelming, and you guys seem to handle it well. And that's something that you guys have kind of posted about throughout. Particularly, I saw more from the Blue Ridge Rock Fest side is how close you guys are as a family, as a group, and how you lean on each other. So, like, what's the prep like going into something like Metal in the Mountains?
It's different for everybody, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the preparation, we really, we just try to practice it, just bang out the set list as many times as we possibly can beforehand. And then as odd as it sounds, we'll take a little bit of a break because we've seemed to find that as odd as it may seem, okay, taking a little bit of a break just kind of lets everything settle in your brain, man. And it's like when you go out there, you're rested, you're refreshed, and for some reason I play better. Like if I take a break from guitar before a big show, when I pick it up, I'm good to go.
I definitely scream better. If I scream the night before, I'm not going to be at my best. But if we take a couple of days off and I go out there all day, I kind of try and rest my voice. So as soon as I hit that stage, it's like, pedal to the metal.
And right before the stage, a little bit of booze helps me too. So.
Yeah, we usually do like a 1 shot, 1 beer kind of thing. Take 1 shot, loosen us up. We kind of sip on a beer before we get ready, do our warm-ups, all that good stuff. Me and Ryan get together, say a prayer every show, and then we do our little crowd huddle, give each other a big hug, and then we go out there and kill it, man.
No, that was one of the pictures that when I was kind of referencing that family aspect of Dying Oath, is one of the pictures that stood out to me from Blue Ridge Rock Fest was the you and Ryan kind of powwowing before the show and getting ready for everything. I need to ask these questions. What is the shot of?
Usually whiskey. For me, it's normally Crown or Jack, depending on what they have. It used to be Fireball, but I've broken up with Fireball since then. No bueno.
Yeah, I've usually got a bottle of Jack on hand. So.
And the beer.
Usually Michelob Ultra for me, because usually, depending on where we're playing, they don't have a lot to choose from. So, I'm more into like the pale ales and whatnot, but a lot of times you get to choose from like Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, and like whatever else they have. So it's usually one of those two for us.
And you and I, full disclosure, this is the reason I had to bring this up. Mindy and I had a conversation earlier, and I was asking what everyone in the band drank, and she said usually Mich Ultra or Bud Light. Why Mich Ultra?
I mean, for
other
me,
than the opportunity, like let's say balls to the wall. This is, it's that whole you're laying in a ditch dying, and you're given your choice of song to play. In this case, you're given your choice of beer to drink. Would it ever possibly be Mich Ultra?
Like I said, I usually would choose like pale ales or imports. That's normally what I like. But if you're playing at a hole in the wall bar, which we love, don't get me wrong, you don't get a lot of options. So that's usually my go-to. But if they have something else to drink, I'll take it. But if those are my two options, Michelob Ultra, but it's simply because it doesn't weigh heavy on my stomach. If I drink any other beers and I have to scream, you don't want me to throw up on you. So,
You know what? I take back what I said. That's a really fair point, and your explanation kind of justifies it all.
Thank
Josh, you have no excuse.
I don't drink that crap anyway.
Yeah, he usually doesn't drink beer. He's usually on the whiskey.
I'm more, if I have to and we're at a decent bar, I'll grab a Corona with a slice of lime, put a little salt in it. That's my drug of choice right there.
What if I told you Modelo was cheaper and better?
Have you tried it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. No. It's like no go.
Did you enjoy it? You don't like Modelo?
Not as
Wait,
much.
did you have the black Modelo or the white Modelo?
The white.
All right. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, you know what? This interview is over. I'm done here.
I'll tell you what. I'll give it.
did.
I'll give it another chance. Okay, just for you. I wouldn't do this for anybody else, man. Just for you. When I leave here, I'm gonna go grab some. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get tanked, and
I'll grab one too.
Make sure you get the bottles. I mean, they've got the nice foil. It's beautiful. It's a presentation.
See,
All
I
right.
haven't tried it, so I'm gonna get back to you on that. As soon as we get done, I'm gonna try it and get back to
I
you.
have actually started digging on the Sierra Nevadas too.
Sierra Nevada, I think is, I can't confirm 100% for sure. They're one of the longest standing craft breweries in the States, though, and even their like default standard offering, the pale ale, really solid. So, but I mean, if you're gonna go standard offering, Rolling Rock, delicious pale ale.
Rolling Rock is up there for me. Definitely like the Rolling Rock.
Never tried it.
Let's step away from the beer for a bit though and talk Blue Ridge Rock Fest because hot damn, that made a lot of noise. And
that was unreal. We woke people up in the campgrounds.
First and foremost, you guys actually made the news.
Yes.
So in your wildest dreams, did you ever think you'd be playing on like the evening news?
Not only no, but also not with Knocked Loose, because we were on there with, it was just us and Knocked Loose on the 11 o'clock news. And it was like, two older ladies like talking about it, just kind of like, and we're like,
it's like, aren't you guys banging your heads?
Yeah. Like what's up with that?
That's my goal right there.
But no, we never could have imagined that.
And you guys are kind of, I don't know, like when did you find out that you were on the news? Because I'm assuming you're probably like me and not sitting there just captivated by the 11 o'clock news.
Well, it was actually a friend of mine on Facebook. We're not close friends or anything, but we're Facebook friends and have been for a while. Lewis, it was actually his footage that they used and they let him know. And he sent me a message and was like, hey, so my footage of you guys got picked up and put on the news. And then he sent me a clip of it. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I've got to think the next best thing would be, a scenario where like the Westboro Baptist Church is coming out to protest, because that gets a lot of mileage as well. But this, I think, is the next best thing, right?
I mean, that's actually happened to me once. I was in this band called Murder Maiden, and we played in North Carolina, and they actually came with picket signs and whatnot and protested against us. So I've already been there. Not fun.
I think it happened at Blind Tiger a few months ago too.
Oh yeah, I heard something about that, but we were inside, so.
So I didn't know that. I've never really picked your brain about anything like that. You say it's not fun, and I imagine it's not, because frankly they're incredibly hostile and kind of nasty people, and they make all of their money off of baiting people into attacking them so they can sue, and it's really just a Ponzi scheme. But if you don't mind me asking, we'll sidestep for a minute, and I do kind of want to know about that experience.
So we were playing at this show, and guy comes in and he's like, you guys probably don't want to go outside, because in Murder Maiden we're all dressed like serial killers, basically. Like I've got all this makeup on, blood, bullet hole in my head, white contacts, the whole 9 yards. And later on in the evening I'd forgotten about that, and I wanted to go out to my car. So I walk outside, and as soon as I walk outside, they surround me with their picket signs, and they're like, you're all going to hell and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, hi guys, how are you? You know, how's it going? And I'm trying to like make my way to my car, and I get to my car and I grab my backpack, and they follow me all the way up to the door, and they're trying not to let me in the door. And I'm just like, hey, I gotta be in here to play a show. And they're like, you're the devil. I'm like, that may be true, but I still need to get in here to play the show. And the security guy comes out and he's like, all of you need to get the hell out of here. Like, we need to let them in, whatever. And I finally get in, but the whole rest of the night, even like with bands playing, you can hear them outside, like marching around with their signs and whatnot. And the cops finally had to come and get them out of there before the end of the show so that we could all get safely to our cars.
Yeah, and that's insane to me. But was there any indication beforehand, you know, that was going to happen?
No, absolutely not. We started to play, and then they just kind of showed up in swarms. I don't think they ever give any indication. It's just like, okay, well, there's a metal show going on out here, and we have nothing better to do with our lives, so let's just go bother them.
That's insane. Okay, so I do want to talk about the Dying Oath set at Blue Ridge Rock Fest. First, I want to talk about the sound check, because you guys kind of got to live out one of my fantasies. How did sound check go?
Amazing.
Well, as they're hoisting our Dying Oath sign in the back, Rob Zombie is like sound checking at the stage right beside us, because there's a big stage and a small stage. We play at the small stage. So we're like, wait, is that really his crew over there? They're like, oh yeah, it's just Rob Zombie sound checking. It's fine. Like,
No big deal.
Yeah, oh yeah, no big deal.
And we're like, what?
And then directly after us was Motionless in White sound check.
Yeah, after that was Motionless in White. And then, you know, of course, right before we played, Stitched Up Heart played the big stage. So they're like, as soon as they get done, you guys play. So we're standing there on the stage listening to their two last songs, like just rocking out. I was mouthing, you know, the lyrics to everything, just kind of getting everything warmed up. I used them as my warm up before we went on. And then as soon as they finished, they're like, okay, you guys go. But the coolest part of all of this is somebody sent me a video, and while everybody was chanting Dying Oath, she was still in her last song. And she literally, in the middle of her set, turns and looks at our stage and kind of leans and smiles, and then goes back to what she's doing. And then after we talked to her later, she's like, it was cool opening up for you guys. And I was like, what?
It's like it's a festival. I wouldn't really qualify it as that, but hey, man.
I mean, I think she was making a joke, but she's super
course,
sweet.
yeah.
We had met her at Metal in the Mountains, and so she already was familiar with us and was super nice to us anyway. But that was pretty cool. Highlight of my life.
I mean, that's kind of the thing about playing these festivals. Again, I don't have the artist side of it. I have the DJ on stage MC side of it. But it's like all these, like, everyone's there for the same love, the same passion, and everyone's equals, everyone's family, and it's just this great feeling. I do want to talk about great feelings though, because there was a video that came out, not on the news, tragically, but a video that was kind of circulating during your guys' set, and people bowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had a huge circle pit, which was cool. And that's the only thing that we could see from the stage. And we thought that was the most badass thing ever. So we were like, oh, okay, awesome. Yeah. But after we were done, we were showed videos of not only the pit, but we had a wall of death.
Yeah.
So that was our first wall of death. And that was absolutely crazy,
Always
especially at noon and in the day. You know, we were one of the first bands to play. We had to open up the show. So it's like not even 1 o'clock and they're starting a wall of death.
Yeah.
Okay. But then I just want to give a shout out to the Icon Pit crew, which were the people that were bowing to us. They go around to all these shows and try to inspire people, especially little kids, stuff like that, to want to get into the pit in a safe way and to go out to these shows. And they, teach brotherhood and how to help your friend up when they fall, things like that. But they go to all these shows. They came to Metal in the Mountains and watched us. And they were such big fans that they got there early for our set. And then while we were playing, we got to one of our breakdowns, and literally all of them, which I think there was 20 or 30 of them, got down on their hands and knees and started bowing to us, which is the coolest, craziest, most humbling thing that's ever happened to me personally. And then when we got done, when I got off the stage, I always walk out into the crowd and take photos and sign stuff and whatever. And they kind of crowded around me, and I was like, what is going on? And they handed me a patch for my cut that I always wear. And it's an Icon Pit Crew patch. And they were like, welcome to the family. And it was awesome.
Hell yeah.
No, it seems like you guys had from everything I've seen online, you guys had one of the best experiences out of any of the artists I know and I've seen play there. And it seems like you guys, like I said earlier, made kind of a lot of noise and caught the eyes of a lot of people. So I'm very excited that was able to happen for you. Of course, at this point, you've already played the show, last show of 2021. So again, we're pre-recorded. So I'm going to ask how last night's show went, and you guys are going to guess.
I'm going to say that it's going to be awesome. And that's simply because when we play at home, it's always a great experience anyway, because our friends and our family come and it's all ages. So, the guys get to bring their kids, and it's always a great experience anyway. And as we talked about before, we played a secret show at one time that we didn't even promote whatsoever, only on the family page, and had over 100 people show up. So I think that coming home from a big festival, well, a couple of big festivals, and it being our last show of 2021 at home locally, I think it's going to be a great turnout. And I think that people are going to welcome us with open arms because of, us being away for so long and doing these huge festivals. Everybody seems to be really proud of us, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
they should be proud of you guys.
Plus, it's an absolutely stacked lineup, man. I mean, you've got Nova Omega, Imperial Design, Dead Reckoning. You've got us, you got Haymaker. I mean, that's just wow.
Some of our favorite bands.
Absolutely.
So that's incredible in itself.
So now we've got to look into the future. 2022, what's the plan?
Well,
dude, it's everything changes.
Yeah, and we'll put a little asterisk. Everything's subject to change.
It's like
Josh isn't intentionally lying to us; he's just lying to us.
Right.
Every time we make a plan, something pops up, and there's a huge opportunity, and we have to shift everything. And it's like every time we do a show, and we're like, okay, now we're going to settle down. We're gonna go record this. Bam! There's a huge show opportunity, or there's a just something that pops up that could really elevate our position even further. So I mean,
the plan,
what we would like to do, okay, what we hope to do, okay, after October 30th in Jay, Florida at Frighteningly Metal Fest 2, we are locking ourselves in the studio. We are finishing up.
Getting this album out, man. Finally, we've had 2 years of playing the same songs. We're done with it.
Yeah, and I think
we want to play new music.
I think last time we spoke, actually, we talked about our plan as far as releasing singles to kind of keep the fire up. But but it's kind of shifted focus a little bit because having an album, it kind of concretes your position as a band. It kind of for me anyway, I don't know.
Plus, you can still release the singles one at a time anyways, but we want to have the whole album so that we can, have it for shows and people can buy it.
Yeah.
But also management opportunities and label opportunities. We've got more on our plate now and more to look at. So now we're trying to get it done.
Right. We've gotten some really good advice from some super high up people that really want to help us succeed, and a few large labels, they want to see unreleased material. So we get the rest of the songs finished up. We've got 2 more to finish, and then get everything else re-recorded, get everything sent off to. I guess we're going with Exodian this time. Yeah, get it sent off to Exodian because they're absolutely fantastic. Exactly, man. Get that back and shop it around. Work with management to see what we can do about getting something worthwhile. If not, we'll keep DIY. If it's not something that's going to benefit us greatly, something that we can't do that ourselves, then there's no point. But
that's why we turned down so many label offers already, because we're already doing it for ourselves. We're playing festivals without labels. We're on radio stations without labels. We're doing all this, you know,
We're promoting
DIY.
ourselves. We're promoting ourselves. We're booking our own shows. I mean, we're promoting our own material. We're releasing our own material. I mean,
Plus new music.
new music.
Yeah,
We want to write.
Wait to play some new music.
and I mean, there's no reason to make a change just for the sake of making a change. So
Exactly.
I absolutely support that.
What is
There's
important.
the point is there's a lot to look forward to from Dying Oath, and if you aren't following them on social media, you're an idiot. Just gonna come around and say it. And guys, thank you very much for joining me. Mindy, I will be talking to you again in a couple of weeks because we got another episode of Mindy's Macabre Movie Madness, but I really wanted to get you guys on to talk about Metal in the Mountains and Blue Ridge Rock Fest. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us, man. We appreciate everything that you do. You know, you may not see it, but it does help us a lot. It really does.
Tremendously, yeah.
It's always my pleasure. You guys are just absolutely the best.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.